So let's talk about creating vaccination protocols that avoid the red tape. And this is a decentralized vaccine coordination that we would like to discuss to create digital tools, in this case apps, to empower citizens that can augment the CDC and state systems such as vSafe and VAMPS and IIS. And our goal is to present the standards, architecture, the open source code, and algorithms that improve efficiency, privacy, equity, and trust. And there are two parts to this. One is an augmentation of vaccination cards that does not require any app at all. So you don't have to be tech savvy to use these vaccination cards. And second is a full-fledged app that can boost privacy, but also provide real-time privacy-preserving aggregation. And our focus is on the full user journey, from eligibility to second dose coordination to health verification to reporting of symptoms. The challenges in the current approach, the challenges overall in vaccination is eligibility. How do we decide who is eligible in this phased vaccination and prioritization and scheduling? The second is coordination between first and second dose. How do you make sure that you're scheduling folks for second dose? If they got the Pfizer, they also get a Pfizer for the second dose, and there is no mix-up. And how do you do record linkage between the users? The third is this notion of health passports for entry permits. And finally, how do you monitor outcomes, effectiveness and safety in the short term and the long run? And there's some really wonderful solutions that are already deployed by the federal and state entities, such as Vaccine Administration Management System, Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, the vSafe system, the Immunization Information Systems, and so on. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about how can we improve the vaccination card in the first step to dramatically improve the efficiency, privacy, and equity. So this is a partnership with IDEO and PathCheck Foundation, where this vaccination card will improve the user journey through encryption. At the same time, create a data-rich vaccine monitoring solutions on a dashboard. And as I said, it looks at the whole user journey. So these are concepts by IDEO that we are working with. And these cards would look like an ordinary vaccination card, but you can add stickers at different phases. And some ideas include two-fold cards and tri-fold cards. And James Smalls later on from IDEO will come and discuss how these solutions look like and the design parameters behind them. And then the vaccination cards on one side have instructions, but the other side has all the information about the coupons and badges that I'll talk about in a minute. So this is kind of a proposal to augment an existing CDC card with stickers. And there are 4 types of stickers: the coupon, the badge, the status, and passkey. So let's talk about that for a second. And you'll hear more from Anna Lezinskaya and Abhishek Singh about the protocol itself. So for these 4 touch points in a user's journey, eligibility of vaccination would be solved through coupons that are sent by an employer or city officials. In terms of dosing at a clinic or a mass vaccination site, you would get a badge after the dose is complete. You would get another sticker called status that can be used for entry to the venues or public facilities, which is similar to health passport. And finally, for monitoring for safety and efficacy, again, the badge information can be used for authenticated uploads. So the top row indicates here what a user journey would look like. And as you can see, for the user, there is no use of technology at all. No phone or websites or apps, only the vaccination card and stickers. And at the bottom, different individuals, the employer, the vaccinator, the guard, the caregiver, would use a accompanying scanner app that we'll discuss later, that will take you through that journey as well. And the particular protocol itself uses the idea of digital certificates. So again, the scanner app does not have to have a live internet access. At the same time, the mechanism is tamper-proof. So using these 4 QR codes, coupon, badge, status, and passkey, that we'll discuss later in presentation by Anna and Abhishek, we can provide an end-to-end user journey and at the same time aggregation of this data. So what are some main ideas here? So one idea here is that we should start sending this unique vaccination cards to everybody right now, like a mail-in ballot, or a census form, or like you would buy, a ticket from Ticketmaster. Everybody should get a unique vaccination card right now. Pre-verify, and create a pseudo identifier for everyone. Then on the bottom left is let's get rid of the name and date of birth and personally identifiable information for an index for a lookup. Instead, let's use digitally certified coupon number, which effectively becomes your new pseudo identifier, a new social security number for the sake of vaccination. And that certificate is difficult to tamper because it will say the coupon can only be used, in Springfield, Oklahoma, in phase 1B by a teacher. And then on the top right is let user provide the record linkage, and let's not expect the disparate health IT systems to connect with each other because they're creating data silos as they had to carry PII and not all the systems are in place. And then use the user provided record linkage for real-time triangulation and dashboards. And finally, for uploads to CDC or any kind of adverse reaction systems to even pharma players, let's make them verified using verifiable credentials so that there's minimum user friction. It's a single click or single phone call with their badge information, and we can reduce the fraud, or we can reduce misinformation that could be uploaded and noisy information that can reduce trust in the system. So our goal really here is efficiency, privacy, equity, and trust at these 4 touch points in a user's journey. And in these detailed slides, as you can see, right now, in terms of eligibility, there's an anxious wait, there's a scramble for scheduling slots, there are concerns of people jumping the queue. And the way you can solve that is if you pre-verify right now, in phase 1A, B, C, phase 2A, B, C, phase 3, if you can give everybody a vaccination card right now with a coupon, and whatever the clumsy mechanism you need to validate you're a teacher or a childcare worker and so on, all those things can be taken care of right now with a unique code, and no centralization of PI is required. In terms of dosing, right now at vaccination sites, everything happens on site. It's a manned workflow. The eligibility of age, job, or health risk is all assessed on site. It's looked up with name and date of birth. The risk questions of allergy is asked on the spot to decide whether you should go to a green lane or a red lane. Second dose appointments, all of these are being done at vaccination sites. And as Sanjay Sharma will talk about, we need to decouple the qualification from delivery. Entry permits, will have a lot of conversations. Handwritten cards are good, but they reveal sensitive data. They're forgeable. And in terms of monitoring, there's always a challenge of unverified self-reports and it's difficult to track data on ineffective lots. So a lot of these challenges can be addressed by using verified codes for the user journey. Some common questions are we just talking about physical cards? Why can't the same codes be sent over SMS and other mechanisms? So the answer is yes. We can use all these other mechanisms also to send a bitmap images by print or through an app or through a website and so on. So when we talk about a card, we're talking about bitmap images. Nevertheless, we think a significant fraction of population just would use the paper cards. What about contacting subjects without knowing PII? One health expert I talked to is like, I can't imagine jabbing somebody without knowing their name or date of birth. Again, we have to kind of get outside that mode to improve efficiency. Is this a health passport? No, it's for the whole user journey, including eligibility, dosing, the verification and health monitoring. So there is a piece of health passport, but we're talking about the whole user journey. What if the cards are lost? How do we solve that? And we can go into the detail. And is there a fraud? Can these coupons or badges be given to other people? And of course, these certificates that are tied to your government issued ID. So there is minimal chances of fraud. So these last mile problems is what we're talking about here. And there's plenty of reference material. Check out our GitHub, protocols for end-to-end workflows, conferences that are coming up at pandemic.mit.edu, and of course, join our Slack channel at tiny.cc/pathcheck Slack. I should also mention that on the app side, although today we're talking about the paper card, we're partnering with PathCheck Foundation and many others, which is a spin-off from MIT, and it's the official exposure notification app in actually 6 US states and territories, and also the world's largest open source nonprofit. And PathCheck Foundation, as Vittorio Pamplona will present in a few minutes, is also launching an app and a scanner app to go with either the paper cards or the user-facing app as well. So I won't play the video, but download the app online. And another interesting part of this mechanism is that we can create aggregate analytics through triangulating this data coming either from the paper cards or from the apps. That's privacy preserving. And Abhishek Singh will talk about how we can use ideas like differential privacy and secure multi-party computation to achieve this type of privacy preserving aggregation. So to conclude, I think we can achieve decentralization of PII, but centralization of health data. We can augment the current efforts by CDC and states to improve the standards and architecture. And I presented 2 concepts, one based on vaccination cards, no app required for the user, and one based on an app protocol that still allows us to maintain privacy, efficiency, and equity with private aggregation. And again, to emphasize, this is about the whole user journey, eligibility, second dose, verification passports, and symptoms. Thank you.